Welcome to JStarter, Unleashing Jewish Potential Crowdfunding for the Jewish People. There's currently many problems in the Jewish world. First off is the fact that 80 to 90% of all philanthropic dollars leave the Jewish community. There's about 76% of American Jews giving an average of $1,200 annually, which is higher than any other faith demographic in America. And based off the number of Jews living in America, that is $3.96 billion in total charity, just based off individual giving. Minus 90% is $3.56 billion lost, and that's only in America, not to mention, of course, Canada, South America, Central America, and Europe, where there are also significant Jewish populations. Next up, according to numerous studies by Eve Valenti, large present need in the Jewish world to come up with new solutions, creative ways of engaging donors. In one study, 52% of next generation donors said that they want to donate in different ways than their family, and increased transparency, a more democratic form of giving, online giving, more innovative and creative solutions was commonly cited. And if we look to the Pew report, which shows a huge amount of Jewish disconnect from the Jewish community, we see that the nonprofit world is simply not inspiring the donor base and Jews to become involved in their community programs. Lastly, is that there's no real outlet for Jewish creativity and innovation. You have a certain small set of Jewish nonprofits that have their large funders, which provide their donor base. And then you have Jewish federations and the school system. And that's pretty much the only connective tissue that the Jewish people have to collaborate together, build new businesses, work on art projects, work on films together, work on causes together, whatever it may be. And so we really see that the nonprofit models are not enabling Jewish connection and collaboration. Secondly, the North American Jewry and European Jewry have a profound disconnect from Israel, and it's a huge lost opportunity from a business perspective and also a more idealistic perspective, because Israel is a booming world of culture, art, entrepreneurship, and the opportunity for collaboration between Americans, North Americans, and Europeans is very much present but not being taken advantage of. Perhaps one of the biggest opportunities facing the Jewish people is the opportunity for crowdfunding. Just speaking about some global statistics, crowdfunding grew by 81% last year. It raised $2.6 billion in 2013, and it's projected to raise another $5 billion in 2014. The vast majority of fundraising projects are in North America and Europe, where there's large percentages of Jews. Also, in 2012, there were 536 crowdfunding platforms worldwide, and only one of them is Jewish, and it's treated as a side project. There is one other Israel-oriented crowdfunding platform, which I'll get to later. So, speaking about the potential of crowdfunding for the Jewish people, if we take that 5 billion number projected in 2014 And okay, because there's a split between the Jewish population in Europe and America. In America, it's 2% of the population. In Europe, it's a little bit less. Um, and the amount of crowdfunding dollars raised, if you multiply the percentage of Jews who exist in the world and the amount of capital raised in those regions where crowdfunding is popular, it's about $75 million raised in crowdfunding by Jewish people, more or less. And this is a rough estimation. Currently, there is a across the board, pretty much industry standard fee of 5%, which means that when a funder or when a project launcher gets their payout, they get about 5% of the money that they raise scraped off by the crowdfunding platform. Crowdfunding also has a huge opportunity in Israel. I'd like to quote from the homepage of ourcrowd.com, which is the only crowdfunding platform for Israel. It was founded by John Medved, a hugely prominent entrepreneur, and he's the CEO of Our Crowd. Each year in Israel, there are 500 plus venture financings and over 1,000 plus angel financings. Deal flow continues to rise, and there is a huge pent-up growing demand among Israelis and foreigners to participate in Israel's, quote, startup culture. And it's not just through investing in public stocks or mutual funds. If this is the case, why should the majority of crowdsourcing platforms remain in North America and Western Europe? So Our Crowd was able to raise $7 million for their clients and about $5 million for its own operations. Though the Our Crowd model is excellent, it requires a $10,000 minimum investment and also certain bureaucratic barriers like legal checking systems, things of that sort. We already see that we have a tried and true proven means that is much more open and streamlined for equity-based initiatives and crowdfunding that has been hugely successful on websites such as JStarter. And it's not necessary to go through this model, although it does have its advantages. And once again, Our Crowd is the only Israel-focused nonprofit model or crowdfunding model out there, and we do see it has a lot of success already. So essentially, the market is wide open. Next is the idea of leveraging philanthropic dollars. In the status quo, there are many large donors in the Jewish world who are seeking ways to spur Jewish innovation and new models for change. Secondly, we could leverage philanthropic dollars to give JStarter a competitive edge over crowdfunding platforms by offering our customers premier crowdfunding services to increase project success. This could include aid with video development, which is one of the most important factors for a successful crowdfunding launch. Also, email campaign tools, access to Google Apps, and booster grants such as done by the Knight Foundation for crowdfunding causes that they believe in when, let's say, a given cause reaches 200 plus pledges. With this kit of premier services, JStarter really could be the premier crowdfunding service for the Jewish people, and so all of those Jewish artists, entrepreneurs, people launching projects, nonprofit-oriented causes, all of that would automatically get driven to JStarter as long as we had a good enough marketing campaign because of the premier suite of crowdfunding services that we could offer to our clients. Next is the idea of partnerships. There are many organizations in the Jewish world who already are working to spur Jewish leadership, innovation, and creative expression of Judaism and Jewish values to make their communities more vibrant. We can build partnerships with these organizations to drive applicants to JStarter and even train JStarter pollinators at these partner organizations to coach their project leaders on JStarter. For example, at Asia Torah, I have a very good friend who is an excellent online social media marketer. And he's studying in yeshiva currently at Asia Torah. And there's many people who pass through Asia Torah yeshiva who would love to launch a project and definitely are inspired, but they don't really have a means to access a wider network of potential donors to launch all of the all of the various projects that they come up with. So if we had somebody like my friend Alex who was there ready to work with and train them and make the pitch for JStarter and give them the tools for the video editing and the online marketing and social media and the email campaign, it would really streamline and inspire the process for our people, for rising entrepreneurs and project leaders to put their project on JStarter. I see this as a triple win opportunity. The partner wins by being rewarded with a banner or link on the applicant's page for their project that they were able to motivate to submit their project. Secondly, JStarter wins by getting free marketing and mentorship through having all of these partnerships with places like Jewish federations, schools, yeshivas, leadership development programs, of which there are many. And lastly, of course, the Jewish people win by having a more robust and innovative suite of services and things actually happening in the Jewish world that will be very exciting. JStarter can also be a connective tissue for Jews. Firstly, we'll be driving hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of unique visits to the JStarter homepage. And that means that people will necessarily be exposed to all sorts of different inspiring projects. The liberals will have to see, wow, there's going to be a documentary produced about this Rebbe during the Holocaust who saved an ancient Torah scroll. Wow, that's actually quite interesting. I'll check it out. Or an Orthodox Jew seeing that some Zionist is working on some sustainable agriculture program incorporating Torah Hashkafa. Things of that sort. The very nature of these online platforms is that you do get exposed to a wide array of different projects that are related or in different fields that you might find inspiring. And we can collect a tremendous amount of data that can be leveraged to make more effective outreach campaigns to people as we see what they click on, what they care about, where they donate, where they read, how much time they spend on the page, etc. And that can inform solicitations that we send out or any other follow-ups that we decide to do. Secondly, by the nature of people being exposed to this diversity of causes, just like Amazon offers various suggestions based off the products that you're looking at or bought in your history, we can offer various suggestions to effectively market and draw connections for our JStarter visitors. And lastly, we can actually have real-life events to showcase JStarter initiatives. It can be an opportunity to bridge various branches of the Jewish world because JStarter will necessarily be bringing together a huge diversity of Jews all across the world, and much like the Aspen Institute, we can become a hub for dialogue and intellectual exchange about where the Jewish people are headed. This is our projection for the amount of projects and money that could be raised. We think in the first year it's viable to get 500 projects, and then 1,000 projects, 1,500 projects, 2,000 projects, 2,500, 3,000 in year 6, and then it will probably taper off in those later years, getting another 200 projects per consecutive year. Starting with year 1, it's about $5 million at 5%, and that's a revenue of $250,000. By year 5, It's $25 million of raised capital at 5%. Of the revenue that we would take, reaching $1.25 million in revenue. Here, I would like to present some pieces of traction, statements of testimony from a Jewish entrepreneur in America launching his own restaurant business, a Jewish entrepreneur here in Israel who has worked in the pension advice world, and from a Jewish guru nonprofit. Our team is Rabbi Raphael Shore. He's a founder of Jerusalem Online University, as well as Core 18, and he's also produced a number of documentary films. He's very well connected with the Jewish philanthropic world and activist world, and would be a wonderful person to help guide the project and also help with the startup capital and developing of partnerships with key institutions that can really expand the JStarter network. Joseph Bornstein is a serial social entrepreneur starting his first nonprofit at the age of 18, and he's been doing various nonprofit and social entrepreneur projects ever since then. Jesse Hodges is an excellent web developer and could well be the developer that we end up hiring. He has a long-standing professional relationship with Joseph. We have a marketing head, head of graphic design, and a pitch deck consultant. And that's it.